Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Trinity. This is my channel, Mrs.Trinityb. I just love to post here as like an update on my life and things that I'm learning and doing and experiencing. And today I wanted to talk about my labor and delivery with my third baby. She is my first baby girl, and her name is Tyra. And so I wanted to share my labor and delivery story. So previously, my other two births were very different than hers. So she came very quickly. I had like prodromal labor most of the day, like just very basic contractions. I would say like every 30 minutes I'd have one contraction, and did that for like 8 hours, to the point where I just thought nothing of it. It's like, this could be days of this, you know. And previously, my other two labors were not that way. My first son, my oldest son, he'll be 5 this year. I was actually pretty much induced with him. 3 days before my due date, I started having contractions. And as like a first-time mom, as also 21, I rushed to the hospital like people do. And they were like, yeah, you're 3 centimeters dilated. They put me on Pitocin. I agreed to it, not really knowing what I know now. And then with the Pitocin came lots of pain, came the epidural, which stalled my complete labor with him. And so I ended up laboring with him in the actual hospital for like 34 hours or something crazy like that. And it was absolutely miserable from what it could have been. But besides that, very grateful and blessed that he came happy and healthy. Everything was perfect with him. Just on for me and my end and my recovery, that was not the way I wanted to do things the second time around. So with my second son, I had really prepared myself, did the Built to Birth course by Bridget Tyler, and I'll link that below because that is the best. Even just doing her free YouTube channel videos and like just really preparing yourself is what I lacked the first time. I guess I thought somebody else was going to prepare me. No, you have to do it yourself. And so with my second son, Tobias, I went into it that I really wanted to try to have him naturally, unmedicated. I had my first son naturally, vaginally. So when I say naturally, I mean unmedicated, no epidural. So with my second son, Tobias, same thing. I went into labor at night, waited a bit. I actually ended up laboring. So my husband had worked that day, so I let him sleep that night. My older son, he had just turned 2, so I also wanted him to sleep that night, just in case. You know, this is my first time really listening to my body. So I labored in our living room that night, I would say for about 4 to 5 hours by myself, until the time came where I could not take it anymore and needed to go to the hospital. So I did, and they ended up sending me home because I was only 4 centimeters dilated, which was really weird how that worked out. And then, so I came home for about 2 more hours, labored, and was like, it's time to go. And I got there and I was 7 to 8 centimeters, and he was born within 2 hours of me being there, unmedicated. And I just really feel like educating myself and preparing myself as much as I could for the real thing. It's like preparing for a marathon. You know, you can't lay on your couch for a year and think you're going to get up one day and run a marathon. You can, and you might not make it. I mean, you might, but odds are you won't, right? So that's kind of what, like, preparing for the unmedicated labor my second time. So with Tyra, I really felt like, okay, I've done this before. I know I can do this. I know that it's hard. It's not fun, right? But I needed to prepare myself. So this time around, I really was the most prepared that I could have been, like the most excited. I feel like something so special about the third time, like it just really it was like anxious free, it was nervous free, it was just excitement, right? And she's also our baby girl, so it was just different. Everything was different. And so like I was said at the beginning, I had like prodromal labor, didn't think anything of it. And so my contractions, I was timing them, were 20 minutes apart. And then within the next hour, they went to like 12 to 10 minutes apart. So I'm still thinking I've got another, 3 hours or so. Wrong. So literally within the hour that they transitioned between 12 to 10 minutes apart, within the hour, they went to 5 to 4 minutes apart. And I started, after about like 6 of those contractions, about 5 minutes apart, I'm like, okay, this transitioned really quickly. This is moving fast, and I need to call my mother-in-law to come watch the boys. And so, I was kind of in denial about it. My husband's the one who was like, we don't want to have the baby in the car, and, in parking lot situations. So I call labor and delivery, and my doctor said, we're here, come on in, it's your third baby, just get checked, worst case scenario. So we do that, and at this point it was like just at 10 p.m. at night when my mother-in-law got here. And like I said, it was probably between 8:30 and 10 that the contractions picked up, between 5 to 4 minutes apart. So only an hour of those, and get to labor and delivery, and I'm 8 centimeters dilated. And pushing through the contractions, breathing, doing everything that I practiced for. And so they get me into my room, and so I'm there at 10 p.m. and I'm laboring. Everything is going quickly. And so time really flew being there, because it was actually closer to 11 when we got to the actual hospital. And so I remember I had the best nurse ever, and she was amazing. She really was. And so I remember telling her, hey, I would really like to take a shower. Just, I'd never done that before with my second son, like as like a pain coping mechanism. So I'm like, oh, let's try this out. So she's getting the shower ready for me. She's getting the shower chair. And I felt the transition of, I should not be getting in the shower. I should not be trying to get up right now. And flipped to all fours on the hospital bed and told my husband, hey, this is for real. It's go time. So the nurse and the doctors, everybody comes in, and it was time to go. It was go time. And in my mind, it felt like I was pushing for forever. In reality, I don't really know how long I was pushing for, but the doctor did tell me that there was a lip over my cervix, so it was making things harder for her to pass through, and very painful. I feel like this time was more painful than last time, and I don't know if that's just like a mechanism that God gave us, like, oh, forget this and then you'll do it again, right? Or if it was literally because of that lip and it being a whole different experience, And so she was born at 2:30 a.m. on the dot, naturally, vaginally. And I just, through every contraction at the very end, where I literally was like, my body is breaking. I cannot go any further. Over and over in my mind, I just kept telling myself the Lord's Prayer. And over and over again. And the nurse, she was telling me when I was done, she was like, you were a champ, you rocked it, you did it, And I felt like I didn't feel that way. I felt like I had reached my breaking point. Like I would, and then the moment she was here, normally it's with my second son, it was like a relief. It was like everything was like, but there was lots of pain with my placenta this time, actually. And I had lots of pain after. And so the thing with that is that baby girl came so fast and strong that I actually ended up with a stomach infection, and in the emergency room when she was 2 days old, because something tore in my stomach and under my esophagus, and they found ulcers in my stomach. So that could be from a lot of things like stress, which is what I'm going to count it to, because the month of February that she was born in was a very hard time for our family, with a family member who had passed. So it was very stressful, and my body on top of that was under a lot of physical stress. And so, anyways, she came fast, she came hard, and it was beautiful and so different. And I feel like as prepared as you can be, like as prepared as I was, I could not have been prepared for that exact moment. And I think it's so amazing how like God allowed me again to prepare as much as I could and be strong in my mind previously as much as I could. But in the moment, 100% leaning on God. 100% was, my flesh was broken and my spirit was screaming, like screaming out for God. And so her birth story was just so unique and special from my boys, being that she came so quickly. And she's my smallest baby. My second son was actually bigger than my first son, and she was actually almost a whole like 2 pounds almost smaller than both of my boys, and everything with her is perfectly healthy. She's perfectly fine. I did just take a lot better care of myself this pregnancy. With my boys, I gained like 50 pounds my first son, and I really went ham with the eat for two. Took naps all day, did not think of the repercussions or what would happen from that. And he was big, and I was big, and stayed big. And so then with my second son, I gained about 30 pounds with him, and he was my biggest actually. And I feel like she was more like painful having him.
A dino, and if I can get so hospital, it's real.
A dino?
No, real dino.
A real dino?
Yeah, real little baby hospital dino.
Okay. Well, I'm going to find out where I can find one, okay?
I just a dino boy. You can only walk there.
So, overall, I felt like this labor and delivery was beautiful in its own way, and it was also the hardest on my body physically and in early postpartum mentally. Like I said, because I did get sick right away after having her. I was vomiting for days and days and days and still nursing her through that. I'm so grateful for the help that my mother-in-law was here, and she was with me at the hospital. Just like I couldn't even physically take care of myself or her. And I'm really grateful for the help that I had. And my mom came, which was really beautiful to have her here, because she lives far away. Really? Okay. Okay. And this is real life with 3 kids. One is always normally crying, needs their butt wiped, or just needs to talk. Okay, it's a lot. It's crazy. But either way, her birth story was unique. It was beautiful. And it's so special that she is our first baby girl. And I say first baby girl, like we're going to have another. I don't know. At this point in time, I feel totally content and satisfied and blessed with 3 healthy, beautiful children. And with our baby girl, because I did have a lot of anxiety around having a baby girl, because all I knew was my boys. But she's the best. She's so sweet. So I just wanted to share our labor and delivery story of our 3rd baby, natural and unmedicated. And I hope you guys stick around for some more videos I have coming up. And I thank you for being here. Bye.